Just going to be with you on this very busy Texas primary night as the polls are closed and results are still trickling in at this hour.
We have a lot of races to get to tonight. Let's start with a hot one, the Democratic race for Bexar County judge. Former San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg challenging current Bexar County judge Peter Sakai.
And here's a look at the numbers tonight. Again, this is early voting numbers with 2% of the votes reporting from today. In Nirenberg there, the former San Antonio mayor with a strong lead at 62% of the vote. The winner of tonight's race will face the Republican Patrick Van Dolen in November.
On this election night, we have team coverage of all the major races across our area and state. We start with KENS 5 reporter Zach Briggs at the Nirenberg watch party. Zach?
Well, former Mayor Ron Nirenberg admittedly surprised to be declaring victory so soon. It was around 8:30 when the crowd of supporters here backyard on Broadway expressed excitement over the first batch of results. And Nirenberg served as San Antonio's mayor for 8 years. He's hoping to bring that experience of governing to the Bexar County Commissioner's Court, and there's so much he wants to tackle if ultimately elected county judge in November. Among those issues, addressing what he believes is a fractured criminal justice system. He has ambitions also to work toward providing more resources for the Bexar County DA's office to address the backlog of cases, and he also wants to work with the city on establishing a jail diversion program, a facility to aid low-level criminals who have behavioral and mental health challenges. Take a listen.
We didn't just win a primary. We committed to fixing a broken justice system. We resolved that everyone should have access to quality health care, regardless of their zip code. And we agreed that no one should have to choose between a roof over their head and food on the table. We've come a long way, but our job is definitely not done. We still have...
And that job entails going up against the Republican candidate Patrick Van Dolen. And Nirenberg said he hopes to work alongside Peter Sakai over the next several months, and he's also looking forward to collaborating with Mayor Gina Ortiz-Jones. Zach Briggs, KENS 5.
All right, Zach, thank you. Now let's get to KENS 5 reporter Mike Jimenez, who's at Bexar County Judge Peter Sakai's watch party tonight. I think it's safe to say, Mike, a very different mood at the Sakai camp. What can you tell us?
Absolutely, Henry. In fact, this party is just wound down. The campaign is no longer here. There are just a handful of supporters still sticking around. But let me tell you, when those first early voting numbers came in, there was some loud audible gasps in the room, followed by some and some head shaking, just in disbelief and complete disappointment at those early voting total numbers. Now, before those numbers came in, Judge Sakai said that he was feeling quietly confident about that and pointed to his connection to the community and said that he felt connected with the community and voters, and pointed to his 40 years of public service, saying the community understands and trusts him and knows that he puts children and families first. And after those early numbers came out, it took him a bit of time to come back out and address the crowd here. And the very first thing he said was, keep the faith, keep the faith. He repeated that twice. He said he was obviously disappointed, but with the amount of early voting numbers still needed to be counted, he didn't concede. He said there was still another inning to go. Here's a little bit of what he had to say.
So make no mistake about it. I will continue to stand up to the bullies, so to speak, for the people of Bexar County. We will continue to defend the Constitution. We will continue to pass policies that lower costs and renew the spirit and the promises of the American dream. The campaign may be over, but our work does not slow down, and neither will we.
Now, Sakai also said that regardless of the outcome, he's going to move on. He's going to continue to serve the public in some capacity. Once again, he reiterated that the public knows that he puts children and families first, and said that he was happy that they ran a positive campaign. Now, just before 9:30, Sakai went home. He addressed the crowd again and said that out of respect for his family, he was going to go home and watch the remainder of those numbers come through, and did say he noticed that when the second set of results came in, that he had gained a little bit of ground. So it looks like he's still hopeful that things will turn around. And I think one of the big takeaways from tonight is that he is still not conceding this election, but he ended his speech by saying that he will respect the will of the voters. From now, that's the very latest here from the Sakai Election Night Watch Party. Mike Jimenez, KINS 5.